Hey, what's up everybody? Hope you're having an amazing day so far. I'm your host Phil, and today's video I want to showcase an awesome distortion pedal. That's a Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna. Let's roll the intro clip, get into some talking, and then also into some riffing. Lichtlaerm Audio. You might already heard of the one-man operation hailing straight from Berlin, led by Daniel Ringel. Now, during last years especially, they have built a reputation for building awesome metal-oriented pedals, and also with the Prometheus launched their first amp design out there, which has been incredibly well received. But not only the Prometheus is currently absolutely hyping the market, things such as the Isaheter Boost, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Keen Gate Noise Gate, and especially the King in Yellow Overdrive have hyped up the market and have received so many awesome reviews, including one of my reviews for the King in Yellow. I really love that Overdrive, especially when it comes to amplifiers which need a little bit more of a harder kick. That's absolutely golden, that pedal. But they also have a lot of other different interesting pedals in their portfolio, and one which instantly struck my interest was the Gehenna, or Gehenna. I'm just going to call it Gehenna for, lack of knowing better. Now, the Gehenna is advertised as being a distortion pedal, but it also is being advertised as functioning as a preamp pedal. And since I run basically with my band Tempest at all times a pedal board only setup, I'm a huge avid believer in that kind of concept. So that instantly struck my interest. Short disclaimer over here, this pedal has been borrowed to me by Daniel from Lichtlaerm Audio in order to make a review out of this. So no money has exchanged hands. I'm not keeping the pedal for free in exchange for the review or something. I'm borrowing this out. I'm going to send it back to Daniel or eventually buy it off of him. So let's see how that goes. But I just want to let you know, this is not technically sponsored by any means, but there is kind of an, let's say, personal incentive to review the pedal just to get my hands on it. So just wanted to let you know that you can do whatever you want with that information. You're still going to get my honest thoughts and opinions on this. You're going to get an honest review, but just want to let you know that. So we're going to put the Gehenna to the test. We're going to see if it can deliver on its promise as being a full-blown preamp pedal. We're also going to check it out in a few different scenarios as an overdrive or as a distortion pedal, more or less. So, yeah, join the ride with me, grab yourself a coffee, and let's get into some mosh. Alright, so the first section of this video is checking out the Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna in the context of being used as a preamp pedal. You can already see that I prepared everything over here for the setup. I got this guitar over here with an Seymour Duncan SH5 in the bridge position, going into the Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna, straight in. That then in turn goes straight into the Harley Benton GPA100 solid-state power amplifier with the EQ set at noon. We're going to change that at a later point in time when doing some tweaking. That then goes into my Marshall 1960 AV 4x12 cabinet, where I got the bottom right speaker mic'd up with an SM57 and exactly where the cone meets the cap. So yeah, and that goes into the audio interface without any type of post-processing, so you're getting the true clean audio. Okay, so let's talk about the pedal. Let me put that into the OBS scene over here. You can see it now on the left side of the screen over here. What we got over here are two different gain settings, which we can set via the foot switch. So this would, in theory, be useful for, let's say, a rhythm tone and then pushing into a more saturated lean tone, for example. As far as I'm aware, it's only the gain settings which are different. Nothing else is changing on the circuit. And from tweaking around, I also could not do any difference out when I was, setting the gain knobs to the same position. With the cut knob, you are not only taking away the low end, so it's not like a low shelf thing going on, but it actually also filters and cleans out a little bit of the low mid frequencies. Very hard to nail down what it actually does, but it does help cleaning up the signal. We're going to check that out in a moment. Then we got the rudimentary bass and treble EQ knobs over here, and the level, which is the volume, which I'm already going to set to mid position and kind of leave it over there, because depending on how hard you drive it, this pedal is sometimes prone to get into feedback, into let's say squealing. So volume at noon is where I like to leave it. Now, What is so special about Lichtlaerm Audio's pedals is this, let's say, signature 4-band equalizer. Over here we got the depth knob, the low mid, the high mid, and the presence. On the King and Yellow we got the bass and the high instead of depth and presence, but it kind of works all similarly. Maybe the frequencies are a little bit, tweaked depending on the pedal. But this is kind of a very signature thing for Lichtlaerm Audio pedals. Then over here, we got the bypass going on, so turning on and off. I'm gonna turn off the pedal, and let's turn this on with this, let's say, to be honest, very crappy EQ settings. Now, note already that the gain is at 0, the volume is set halfway up, and nothing is set up. I'm now gonna move ahead and play around with the gain first, then with the cut, then with the EQ. I'm just gonna do kind of a playthrough thing, just gonna play and tweak along, so I'm not gonna switch too much between talking and riffing. Alright, so you're already getting a very good impression on what this pedal is capable of doing. I think it really sounds incredible as a preamp pedal. It has a lot of flexibility in the stuff you can tweak. There's one small downside, and that is, depending on how much gain you are feeding in, it's prone to squealing. I'm just gonna kind of inflict that purposely. So please raise the volume if you are on headphones or hearing that at a loud volume, because this is going to be very obnoxious and loud. Okay, usually I like to kind of crank the presence totally up and then play around with the treble and then play around with the gain. Oh, okay, wait. There we go. As soon as I kind of fire up the guitar pot, then you're getting that squealing. So you're just bound to using some more moderate settings depending on what you want to achieve. This can be, you know, like a little bit of a downside, especially when you want to boost this with an overdrive. It's kind of very prone to getting into that squealy thing. With the King in Yellow, I kind of very quickly got into that territory. But to be honest, this does not need a boost. So turning up the guitar volume right now, you can already hear a little bit of that, you know, mid thing coming out, which wants to squeal, but it's not there yet. But, you know, listen to this. This is an awesome sounding tone. I could easily gig with this setup, to be honest. So I could just, in theory, take this pedal, just put it on, and I would be done. You know, like for an entire gig, I could work with this. If I would go back with the gain a little bit over here on, let's say, my rhythm channel, crank it a little bit for the lead channel. So that would absolutely work out for a gig. Yeah, and then I also have the 3-band EQ of the Harley Benton GPA100. For this, just gonna pull the scene in OBS a little bit by side so you can see what's actually going on over here. So you're not seeing my face anymore, but instead you're seeing the Harley Benton GPA EQ over here. And you could now, in theory, just go ahead, crank the treble a little bit, take a little bit out of the mids, take a little bit out of the bass, put them there for a little bit more into the Gehenna. Let's see what that sounds like. So, gonna pull back the scene back to where we only see the Gehenna. Yeah, and this is awesome. I don't know what to say else. This is already a very remarkable, cool sound which you can get out of the Gehenna. And if I would use it, I mean, I have the dime head NAM player, which allows me to kind of capture everything which I want, and I could then just run with that capture. But if I would, let's say, build myself a super minimalistic pedal board setup where I only want to have like 2 or 3 elements, you know, like smack a delay in there for the leads or something, this would be it, you know. I have used the AMTP lead boosted by an MXR M77, and it would be a very close draw between those 2 pedals and this one, actually. This has a very Marshall-esque type sound to it, which I really adore and I really enjoy. So, okay, let's close this section of the video and let's move to the next section of the video where I'm using this as an overdrive pedal into a clean channel. Alright, let's check out the second use case of this pedal, and that's using the Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna as a distortion pedal. Now the signal chain is as following. Again, same guitar as we used before with the Seymour Duncan SH5 in the bridge. That then goes into the Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna. That then goes straight into the EVH 5150 on the clean channel. So the EVH 5153 Ivory, which I got over there on the clean channel. That goes into the Marshall 1960 AV, and again, mic'd up by the same SM57 configuration. Yeah, and let me first show you the clean sound. with the neck pickup. Back to the bridge. And now let's turn on this pedal. As you can see, a lot of the stuff is just set to noon. Now, this pedal already turns the EVH into a mean metal chugging machine. That's already pretty cool without really any kind of knob tweaking over here. You can basically set everything to noon and you already get an awesome, awesome tone out of this. So, yeah, what else can we set up? Let's try to play a little bit around with the level to kick in the amplifier into more saturation. Again, we're gonna now take the gain to a little bit more into, let's say, super saturated territory. Just gonna try out how it sounds as we crank the gain. Okay. Everything above this position over here kind of kicks in the amplifier into, you know, saturation, feedback, overdrive. But to be honest, we don't actually need any more gain than this, so I'm gonna dial this back in a little bit. Gonna dial back the level a little bit as well, so it's not pushing the amp that hard. Now that's really cool. It has a lot of a Marshall-y, super hot rodded type of tone going on over here, in my opinion. I really enjoy this a lot. For my specific use case, you know, like super tight stuff, I would go with a little bit more treble or presence. Let's work around with the EQ, but I'm gonna do this on a more safe setting with the gain 1. This is awesome. So what are my closing thoughts on this pedal over here? The Lichtlaerm Audio Gehenna. Let me place that away for a short second. I think this is an absolute incredible pedal. You heard it for yourself. It is able of delivering the preamp sounds as well as really working out well as a distortion pedal, especially on the EVH 5150 clean channel. I personally did not have the feeling that I was playing like a distortion pedal through a clean amplifier. I was really thinking, or I had the impression of playing an amplifier with its own unique identity. And this is super incredible. It's very impressive for a distortion pedal. I never was a distortion pedal guy, much rather had an overdrive boosting a high gain tube amp, but this pedal over here is making me seriously considering thinking otherwise in that respect. I'm really close to, talking to Daniel if there's a possibility for me to keep this pedal, maybe buying it off of him. So let's see how that will turn out in future. However, you still got my honest thoughts and opinions. I think by super cranking up the gain, you're getting into that squealy territory that's a little bit annoying, but everything within the usable range of this pedal can get you everywhere where you want to be in that respect. So clear winner for me. I think it's 200 euros on the Lichtlaerm Audio webpage, and I also read a post recently that in the US, if you are located in the US, you can reach out to Cult Effects. This is a kind of a shop which is led by Simon Havemann, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, I'm gonna put links to all of the shops down below in the description. If you want to check this pedal out for yourself, absolutely do so. I highly recommend this piece of equipment. With that out of the way, yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed what you heard and what you have seen. If you have done so, I would absolutely love for you to subscribe to the channel, comment, engage with the video. Helps me being seen more in the algorithm. Yeah, and with that out of the way, thank you so much, everybody. Gonna see you in the next video. Until then, keep it metal.